Okay, welcome to our another episode for our career talk at Advancing Northeast, where we are covering different um, personas and different professions uh, where people are not aware. We're talking about more information here, getting to know more about your field. And we are not covering just about the profession, but also for the people who are students, especially who are wanting this particular in future. So it's going to be an informative video, and thank you so much for joining in our episode today. And for the Sikkim part, we have already covered few videos, and today few interviews with different people. And today we are here with Mr. Tashi Teshring Bhutia, who is currently involved in the hospitality industry, and this is something very new for us as well, and I hope that we get to learn more from you, sir. So would you please like to give a short introduction about yourself?
Thank you very much for having me on your platform. First of all, I would like to give my introduction. My name is Tashi Teshring Bhutia. I am born and brought up in Gangtok, Sikkim itself. I've done my schooling from Tashi Academy and then my plus two from Delhi Public School, Siliguri. So after which, I pursued for a short while bachelor's degree in psychology. After which, I did my hotel management from Amity University, Kolkata. Currently, I am working with the Oberoi Group, that is the Oberoi Group of Hotels, managed by the IEH Group. And as of now, I am posted at the Oberoi Grand, Calcutta, as a management training, which I will elaborate later. So
Okay,
that is all
thank you
about my
so much.
introduction.
Thank you so much, sir, for your short introduction to us. It was really brief, and also we are very happy to have you in our midst. And as we've already spoke about and said that you are involved in the hospitality industry, and we would love to learn more about your profession. So as already you've given your introduction about your education qualification, your academics, and tell us, can you share us a bit about more about hospitality industry in brief?
Okay, the hospitality industry basically caters towards leisure travel. It caters towards business travel as well. So, in terms of hospitality, what I can say is that we are there to provide service in terms
Mhm.
of food and um, obviously rooms and accommodation as well. So
Mhm.
with my current posting with the Oberoi Group, I am working in a hotel that is called the Grand Oberoi Calcutta. So we have a occupancy of around 200 rooms. So we cater to guests mostly from the corporate sector, and we also
Oh,
cater to many foreigners and leisure travelers that we like to call them. The term that is used for uh, people who just travel for, not for work, but for sightseeing and just for casual purposes. So we call them leisure travelers. So we mostly cater to that group as of now.
okay. So yes, so obviously, when we talk about, pursuing a career in a particular field like yours is a professional course, it's a professional, field, right? So what we've seen is in our hills, it's the professional training, the professional career are now sort of, slightly booming and growing steadily. Not so in a huge scale or a fast scale, but steadily it's growing, right? And of course, it's got to do a lot with the awareness programs. And this is is one of the things that we are approaching as well. So can you tell us about, how a person, a student in a high school or in school who want to, pursue this career? Okay, they might have some interest in this field. Okay, they want to work in a, big hotels, in a maybe in airlines or cruise. I mean, it has the sky is the limit, right? So can you please tell us, as an informative way, I mean, what would be the procedure and what is, the process?
So, like you rightly mentioned, the hospitality industry is a very professional environment, I would say, first and foremost. So, first and foremost, so second thing that I would like to point out is that a correct mindset is very important. So, if youngsters want to be in the hospitality sector, then, our kids from the hills, we have a mindset that they always attracted to glamorous things. It is true that the hospitality industry is very glamorous. From the
Mhm,
outside, it looks very luxurious, it looks glamorous, but the
mhm,
effort that it takes to maintain that standard of glamour and that standard of comfort and opulence that you see in television, or that you walk inside any five-star hotel and you see, it takes a lot of work. The behind the process of maintaining a five-star hotel on a day-to-day basis, that
mhm,
in itself is a different world. That is something I feel like where awareness should be emphasized. Our kids
mhm,
should know about that more, and then
mhm,
I would suggest that they should make the move towards having pursuing a career in hospitality. And my professors, when I was in college, they used to say that there are two professions that will never run out of jobs. One is
mhm,
the medical field, and another one
mhm,
is hospitality. See, you can never stop people from being sick, right? And you can also never stop people from traveling. So it is a industry that has seen massive growth over the past years, and especially after COVID.
mhm,
And hopefully in the future also, the growth is definitely there. The trajectory is definitely rising as far as
mhm.
the hospitality industry is concerned.
So, okay, thank you for a really good answer. So, what my also question to you is, what are the qualification a person or student should go through to to be in this industry?
So there are different ways to which you can approach a career in hospitality. So to broadly categorize this, I would say there's a BSc degree you can do in hotel management, okay, and then in hospitality, sorry. Then there is a bachelor's in hotel management that you can pursue, and then there is
Mhm,
a diploma course. So with
mhm,
each course, it has its own merits and demerits. So if you
mhm,
do a certificate course, let's say a diploma, then the growth that you can expect is a little stunted. It is not that
mhm,
what do you say, how should I put it, you will not have that much growth. Let's put it that way, because the
mhm,
diploma course, it is, I believe it's only for a year or so. So once you do a diploma, you get hired as a FTC. So what
mhm,
happens when you are an FTC is that the hotels hire you on a contractual basis. So
mhm,
in terms of being an FTC, you get a good pay, but your pay remains stagnant, and it entirely depends on the hotel whether they want to renew your contract or not based on your performance. But with
mhm,
the FTC route, you cannot be a supervisor or a manager. Whereas if you do a BSc or a bachelor's in hotel management, then you make yourself more wanted
mhm,
for there is better scope for growth with these degrees. So,
mhm,
and apart from this, I would also like to point out that these days there are many big brands like the Oberoi Group, ITC Hotels, even Lemon Tree Hotels, and you have your JW Marriotts. So all these groups have come up with their own management training program. It is known as MT, which is
mhm,
what I got through. So the nomenclatures for the management training programs is different for different brands. So for the
Mhm.
Oberoi Group, in my case, it's known as the OCLD, which is known as the Oberoi Center of Learning and Development. So
Mhm.
in case of ITC, you have HMI. Okay, so
Mhm.
these are nomenclatures that we use for their management training. So what
Mhm.
happens is that the college starts recruiting the companies, sorry, correction. They start recruiting students when they are in the third year or in the last year of their studies into various programs. So that is how they start recruiting. And if they deem that the candidate is fit enough to cope up with the work pressure, and if they feel that the candidate is qualified enough to meet the standards of their uh, brand, then you could be assured that you are going to have a very bright future with
Mhm.
the respective organization that you decide to opt for. So
Mhm.
that is all
So,
about the process.
so clearly, I mean, I know people, students a lot. I've seen a lot of students doing diploma in this, management course, hospitality course. But as what you are saying is definitely, beneficial for the longer run to go for the graduation course that is. And I mean, I'm pretty sure there is some further studies involved in it. Can you, if there is there any, you can explain that to us?
After doing your bachelor's, you can always opt for masters in hospitality, but
Mm-hmm.
there are very select few colleges in India that provide the master's degree in hospitality. But
Mm-hmm.
there are plenty of options abroad. So, but for general terms, in case of masters, like there are very few colleges in India that actually offer the master's degree in hospitality. And another route that an individual may decide to take is actually opt for an MBA after doing a bachelor's degree. So if they feel like they don't want to go through the because the hospitality industry is very labor intensive. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be on your toes always. So if they feel like that is not their thing, then they might go for an MBA degree in sales or marketing or in human resource, and they can also go for a more administrative corporate route as well, and be associated with hotels. Because when we say I want to work in a hotel, it is very stereotyped, because people just think it's either cooking, washing dishes, or being a waiter, something along those lines. But a hotel in itself is a world of itself. There are various things that hold the so let's assume the hotel to be a house, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
have a mother, a father, and kids, and they all have roles in a family, right? And which constitutes a house. So hotel is very similar to that. There are various departments. There are various what do you call it? There are various professionals who are working in coordination with each other to make sure the day-to-day running of the hotel is smooth. So
Mm-hmm.
in these various avenues and department, one can always you know do research on their own and decide what is best for them. Because as as an individual, hospitality industry, it is not a segmented industry, because
Mm-hmm.
you can always branch out. Because people think that if you do a hospitality degree, then you are just stuck to working in hotels, right? But that is not the case, because even
Mm-hmm.
in railways you have hospitality, even in flights you have hospitality in terms of catering and hostesses. So in cruise lines you have hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
Even in hospitals these days you have hospitality. So employment is not an issue
Mm-hmm.
in the hospitality sector. And as far as growth is concerned, one thing I would like to say is that it definitely depends on the individual, but there is definite growth.
Mhm. Okay, so coming towards, I mean, what conversation you were taking us towards, what is the, scope and how diverse this industry is? Can you explain us in few lines?
So let's just focus on the word, what hospitality means, because hospitality means we hospitality is a very broad term, because when guests come to your house, you don't say, let me service them. That sounds very wrong, right? So you say, I'm going to provide them hospitality. So understanding the meaning of the word hospitality is very important. So when you
Mhm.
actually, take into consideration what the word actually means, you can actually see that the industry itself is very diversified. Like I
Mhm.
pointed out, hospitality is everywhere. So these days in big hospitals like Apollo's and your Nutias, they're employing a lot of hospitality professionals, because they have various categories of rooms for patients, which
Yeah.
for which they provide hospitality with different rates attached. So
Mhm.
there also hospitality professionals are required. In cruise lines, you have hospitality. Even in the railways, you have hospitality, because people are always traveling. People want food. People want comfort. So
Mhm.
that is where hospitality professionals are needed. And as you
Mhm.
know, commercial airlines
Mhm.
hire hospitality professionals. So
Mhm.
as far as diversification and diversity is concerned, it is very broad. The hospitality industry is not a narrow segment.
Yeah.
It has its roots everywhere, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my perspective, what I see is, for a very long time, our hills, especially the Northeast, were very foreign to this subject. But definitely in the boom of tourism, where we had to run hotels, the local people had to run all this stuff. I think now, I mean, we can't, the knowledge shouldn't be constricted for just, have or running a hotel, right? So it has to run in a very professional way with skilled people. So I think those aspects are really helping the industry, just the growth of the industry among our people. So anyways, moving to our next question, I would like to ask, what skills are required in your position in a daily basis?
So, first of all, you have to be a fit individual to work in hotels,
Mm-hmm.
because a hotel, like earlier said, is like a house. But then here, I would like to reference the hotel as the clock. So,
Mm-hmm.
when a cog is not functioning properly in a clock, the clock stops functioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the cogs need to be oiled and maintained on a regular basis. So you can think of hospitality individuals, like hospitality professional, as individual cogs. So if you
Mm-hmm.
are unfit, then you will not be able to pull your weight. And when you are not able to pull your weight, then the performance and the efficiency, it definitely goes down. So first and foremost, I would like to say that hospitality professionals have to be fit. And
Mm-hmm.
second of all, communication skills is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So English is the medium of communication in every five-star deluxe property in India. So an individual has to be fluent in English, and if the individual has knowledge in other languages, in
Mm-hmm.
any language, foreign language, or in any regional language, then that is definitely an asset for them. Because as a hospitality professional, you have to be smart, you have to be on your toes, and you always have to take initiative. A hotel is not a place for somebody who doesn't want to take initiative. There is no room for people who don't want to take initiative, who don't want to take responsibility. Because the more you take responsibility when you are working in a hotel, the more your team is going to trust you, the more your bosses is going to trust you, and the more the guests are going to, you know, it's at the end of the day, it is building rapport with the guests. So if
Mm-hmm.
you are able to understand the guests' needs, so we
Mm-hmm.
use this term called anticipatory service. So anticipatory service is what I would like to define it as is basically like we have a lot of repeat guests who come to the hotel, and they are very particular about things. Some people are allergic to milk, so we exclusively get plant-based milk for them. Some people, they like to sleep with three pillows. There are a lot of odd requests from guests. So we have a database where we keep track of all of these things. And that is where anticipatory service comes, because when we are anticipating the guests' needs even before they say it, then
Mm-hmm.
it gives them a sense of, they get this feeling that I am paying the money and I am being well taken care of. So
Mhm.
that is that should be that should be the perspective and the approach of every hospitality professional, being the anticipatory service. And obviously, like I said, communication skills, and
Mhm.
you have to be fit, like I
Mhm.
mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
And as far as other skills are concerned, you need to be a team player. Teamwork is very important. Coordination between different departments is very important. So all of these skills, these are like the basic necessary skills, I would say, that a hospitality professional should have in them.
So, as you mentioned, I'm pretty sure there are lots of, listening to your conversation, there are lots of departments. I mean, it's a very, vast topic over there, but just touching the surface of it, I mean, from your experience as well, currently where you are posted at, can you explain a bit about the corporate system in a hotel, like yes, where you are working?
Okay. So, in the previous question, I'm sorry, I missed out a point. So, I don't know if it is a skill or not, but hospitality professionals have to be well groomed. Okay. So, that
Okay.
is something I missed out. So, grooming is very important. You have to look the part as well. So,
Mhm.
that is something I missed out. As far as the corporate structure in a hotel goes, so we have four major departments. That means housekeeping, you have front office, you have food and beverage, and then you have the kitchen. So these days, the four core departments are segmented into two umbrella terms. So we
Mhm.
call front office and housekeeping as rooms division,
Okay.
because so the housekeeping department and the front office department, they are like brothers and sisters. They have to work in tandem with each other. So it comes under one umbrella term, which is known as rooms division. And then
Mhm.
you have production. That is an
Okay.
umbrella term which we use for F&B and kitchen. So
Mhm.
that is all about the corporate structure. And then you have your additional supporting departments like sales, which is very important. You have
Mhm.
marketing.
Mhm.
Okay. Then you have your HR, you have your training centers. Then um, that's it. That is a brief on all the
Mhm.
various departments inside the hospitality sector, inside any hotel. Sorry.
Okay, so can you please talk about more of your experience staying there? So how does everything function?
So, like I said, working in a hotel, it's not easy, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this and say that, you get to meet movie stars. It's a five-star hotel. Everything is good. That is what we see from the outside, but from the inside, the story is very different. So, like I said earlier, being a hospitality professional, your mindset is very important,
Mhm.
because first and foremost, the shift hours are very long.
Mhm.
So sometimes you might have to go for 14 hours, 15 hours, and sometimes you don't even get to eat dinner, because during season time, or when there is rush, or when the occupancy rate is high, then um, what happens is that you really don't get a break for yourself. But that comes along with any profession. And as far as my experience is concerned, working with the Oberoi group, it has been very enriching, I would say, because the Oberoi Group is one of the premier hotel brands in India. So we
Mhm.
are a very guest-oriented brand. So
Mhm.
for us, the guest is very important. So we have a motto, the Oberoi motto, that says, guest first, company second, then self is later. So you
Mhm.
can see from that one line how much importance we stress on taking care of our guests and following the Oberoi way. So what Oberoi tells us is that they invest in people, they invest in individuals. They don't want somebody, who knows rocket science. Like hospitality has got nothing to do with formulas or rocket science, nothing like that. They want individuals who are smart, who are capable of handling the pressure, who are capable of doing the working with, like, a certain level of professionalism, and rest of the things, Oberoi believes they are going to mold you in a way, and they call it the Oberoi way. So
Wow.
that is how my organization functions. So when I'm talking about other organizations, the shift timings might be different, the processes might be different, the SOPs, okay, the standard operating procedures might be different, because it's not the same for every hotel, because not every hotel has the same number of rooms, not every hotel has the same number of staffing or manning, so based on all of this, experiences can vary,
Mhm.
experiences can be different, but one thing I can say is that hospitality, being a hospitality professional and being involved working in hotels, it has definitely been an enriching experience, and it has molded me into a well-rounded person, I would say.
Okay, that's a a great explanation about what is and what not over your job, and also coming back to the basics. I mean, before pursuing this course and this particular field, what are the education qualification one needs, and what were your education qualification in your school time?
So, going back to my school days, okay. So I'm actually a science student. So I had taken up physics, chemistry, bio. I was a pure science student. So after that, the thing is, I come from a very academic family. So there's a lot of doctors and engineers in my family. So I never wanted uh,
Mhm,
anything to do with that world, because I had seen too much of it. I wanted to
mhm,
branch out and do something of my own, So after a brief time pursuing psychology, I realized that it is not my calling. So therefore, I shifted to the hospitality. I shifted to pursue hospitality because that is what motivated me, and that is what I was interested in. And I feel like along the way I found my calling. I was really satisfied with what I was
mhm,
studying, with what I was doing. So I pursued my bachelor's in hotel management, which is a 4 years course from Amity University, Kolkata. So
mhm,
as you know, Amity University is a global university that has campuses in different areas in India. So I passed out from the Calcutta branch. So during my third year of college, I actually sat for an open interview for the Oberoi group. So I believe we were more than 500 participants that day for the interview. So I actually applied for the OCLD program, that is their management training. And on that day, it just clicked. It happened, So I got through, and within a few days later, like within a few weeks later, I got my acceptance letter. And from and the moment I signed on the paper, I haven't looked back since, because
mhm,
right now I'm happy doing what I love. I
mhm.
am in one of the premier brands of hotels in India. So
It's it's definitely very inspiring there as well, because you are breaking the stereotype. So what you're saying is you're pursuing physics and maths, and also not also being very good at it, and you pursued a field which is basically a very different to it. So a person doesn't have to go through a science stream to go through professional course, and a person doesn't have to be an art student to go through so it's much more, I mean, modern and new about it. So we have only like 8 minutes left. So this is going to be a quick sort of rapid question and answer. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 6 years?
I'm in Oberoi Group in their training program for the next 2 years. So right after that, I'm going to be posted as a manager in the group. So yeah, I would not like to limit myself, because that is just a position that I'm going to reach, right? But then I would like to keep my self as much open-minded as possible, and the possibilities are endless, to be honest. So
Mhm.
yep.
What is the one struggle that you have to face as a challenge in your field?
Okay, so the most difficult challenge is your training period. So my
Mhm,
training period was very difficult because it is going to be difficult for everybody because, like I said, we only see the glamour from the outside, right? But
mhm,
once you also on the first day of your training, when you actually go inside and you see how the hotel functions, you see people running around, people shouting, the language is very rough. So it is definitely a culture shock because our kids, we are raised, our kids in the hills, we are raised in a very sheltered way, right? So we are not
mhm.
used to the harsh environment, the harsh language. So dealing with that and getting accustomed to it, it is definitely a challenge. And obviously the shift timings and the physical demands of the job, I would say.
So also I would like to ask, are there opportunities for self-employment in your field?
Oh yes, definitely. Because I'm actually very grateful that you asked this question because I would like to point out that Sikkim, our state, tourism has been booming quite rapidly, and people have been enterprising by opening cafes and restaurants and hotels. So hotel, see, being a hospitality professional, not only do you get a degree which says you are qualified as a hospitality professional, you get valuable skills, which you can employ in your own businesses. You can open a restaurant, you can open a cafe, you can do cloud kitchens. Right now, the possibilities of being a self entrepreneur and enterprising your own business and yourself and your abilities, I mean, the possibilities and the avenues that you can see yourself involved with, the possibilities are endless in that case.
So also you said, I mean, a startup business. There are a lot of people who are doing startup. I mean, it's a really good thing, our state is doing that. But what is the difference between a person who starts learning from the internet and by self, but also from a person who has taken the course and did the study and starts their own business? So what's the difference?
So, okay, I think this is applicable for every industry because one thing I would like to point out is that whenever you walk into an interview, you always
Mhm,
carry with you what is known as a CV, right? So when you do a degree from a reputed college, when you do when you have worked with a very good brand,
mhm,
your CV speaks for itself.
mhm,
You don't need to go and explain to the people, to the recruiters, of a particular organization that yes, you are qualified enough because your CV is going to speak for itself. Whereas for an individual who has picked up stuff from the internet, I mean, that is also beneficial, but there I would say you are limiting yourself to self entrepreneurship and uh, opening cafes and restaurants. So that is the major difference between being self taught and
mhm,
actually having a professional degree. Because at the end of the day, a person who, see, I might be prejudiced towards this particular question because I too have a degree. Okay, I have a degree and I'm speaking on the experience of that. But like I said, it all depends on the individual also. That is an important factor. But if as per your question, you said the major difference, right? So I'm just pointing one of the differences that, it really matters a lot when you walk into any organization with a CV. So that actually tells a lot to the recruiters about, your experience, where you have worked, the organizations that have deemed you fit enough to be employed with them. So that is
yes.
the
So
major difference.
I mean, we are really running out of time. We have like few minutes left, but at last, I would like you to give a short message for the students who want to, take this career. And you can speak in the local you can speak in the Nepali, that is the local language here in Sikkim. So तपाईँले भन्नु सक्नुहुन्छ कि आउने स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूलाई पढ्दै गरेको स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूलाई यो फिल्डमा जानुको लागि few inspiring lines for 5 linesमा भनिदिनुहोस्.
त्यसो भने म नेपालीमै बोल्छु है, सबैजनाले सुन्नुहुँदैछ होला। म चाहिँ के भन्छु भन्दाखेरि, एट द एन्ड अफ द डे, यु डु वाट यर हार्ट टेल्स यु। हुन्छ नि, तपाईँ चाहे हस्पिटालिटी इन्डस्ट्री नै लिनुहोस् चाहे तपाईँलाई डक्टर हुनु मन छ, engineer हुनु मन छ, whether you want to be a teacher, at the end of the day, you follow your heart and you work with passion हुन्छ नि. When you are passionate about something, no, the 14 hours, 15 hours, it doesn't feel like anything हुन्छ नि. त्यो त्यसै गइहाल्छ हुन्छ नि. तपाईँको भित्र त्यो जुनून छ, तपाईँको त्यो भित्र एउटा हुन्छ नि, इफ यु भन्छ नि इङ्ग्लिसमा के वेयर देयर इज अ विल देयर इज अ वे भनेर. सो keeping yourself, so as far as the hotel industry is concerned, keeping yourself motivated is very important. किनभने along the way तपाईँले मान्छेहरू भेटाउँछै भेटाउँछ हुन्छ नि, who are demeaning हुन्छ नि, यस्तो भन्छ ए केही हुँदैन तिम्रो त, यतिकै हो, 4 वर्ष यतिकै अड्किन्छ भनेर. तर त्यो मान्छे कहिले पनि त्यो जग्गाबाट हटिँदैन, तर तपाईँलाई डिमोटिभेट गरेको गरेको गर्छ उसले हुन्छ नि. तर एउटा कारण त छ नि के ऊ पनि काम गर्दैछ नि होइन, त्यहीँनिर नै उसले पनि छोडेको छैन नि, तर तपाईँलाई चाहिँ छोड्नु भन्दैछ. सो यु निड टु बी स्मार्ट द्याट हुन्छ नि क्यों, एन्ड यु निड टु लुक एट यर ओन सेल्फ एन्ड यु निड टु अभियसली focus on what you are chasing हुन्छ नि at the end of the day, and where you see yourself in the coming years हुन्छ नि, and that should motivate you every day हुन्छ नि, to show up on time, be punctual, be well groomed, right, and work to the best of your abilities, and always try to prove that you are useful and you know you are worth the investment of the organization हुन्छ नि. सो म चाहिँ त्यही भन्छु. एन्ड तपाईँहरूले प्लिज आफ्नो रिसर्च पनि गर्नुहोस् हो, किनभने मैले त आई हेभ जस्ट टच द सर्फेस, देयर आर अ लट अफ थिङ्स द्याट मटेरियल्स एन्ड सो तपाईँले आफ्नो रिसर्च पनि गर्नुहोस् है. एन्ड एज फार एज द industry is concerned, you will always there is abilities are endless, the sky is the limit, and जति पनि youngsters हुनुहुन्छ, and keep telling yourself that you are not useless and you can do anything if you are passionate about it.
Okay, thank you so much, for your time and giving us. I mean, we did not touch the depth, but of course we touched a lot of topic, and I'm sure it's going to be helpful for people who watch it. And thank you for coming and talking and sharing your experiences. And we wish you all the best for your journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.